Hello, my name's Peter Mullin. I live in Bedford, England. I'd like to make some comment, give my opinion on the misrepresentation China has received in the media with regard to Tibet and the Olympic Games and so-called human rights. In Tibet we have seen a number of protesters smashing vehicles, windows, shops and doors. In London we've seen protesters trying to disrupt the torch ceremony for the Olympics. In Paris the same. There was even a group of protesters that tried to snatch the torch away from a disabled athlete who was in a wheelchair, a young girl. Had one leg only in the wheelchair, and some protesters tried to take the torch away from her. And I think this is despicable. Once a protester breaks the law, they cease to be protesters and become criminals. We've seen how the police in London treat these people, and we've seen how these people are treated in Paris. However, if the Chinese treat the Tibetans in the same way, they are themselves considered to be criminals, not the protesters who are actually breaking the law and smashing the place up. There has been very little publicity about all the infrastructure that China has put in place in Tibet. The railways, the housing, the benefits that Tibetan people have been given. The Dalai Lama is supposed to be the religious leader. If that is the case, then he should not be involved in politics. It is important for Tibet to move forward, not backwards. If we look at the history of Tibet, it has been annexed to China for centuries. People have tried to occupy Tibet, including the British, many times and failed. Failed because it is such a remote area that access is very difficult. The Chinese people have done what a lot of people have failed to do, and that is to access Tibet, put in infrastructure and things that have benefited people. Tibet's population has been enhanced by Han Chinese. Now, it's not an occupation of a country, it is occupation of an autonomous region of China. Now, it might be said that this is Chinese propaganda. But what is real propaganda? Is it the fact that you can make statements such as human rights, third world, and things of this nature? Third world. What happened to the first and second world? This is a term that media have come up with for countries that are poor, which is to my mind more insulting than saying that you're a poor country. Human rights. What human rights are they talking about? It has never been detailed what human rights they're saying. They say you can't criticise the Prime Minister, you can't criticise the Chinese government. How many people really want to criticise the Chinese government? When you look at the achievements of the Chinese government and the Chinese people, who can really criticise them? Can we say that they've done a good job or a bad job? The facts are that they've done a good job based on the number of Western companies, America as well, who have gone into China, built factories, invested billions of pounds. How our own Prime Minister went to China to try to encourage more trade. How London opened its arms at Spring Festival to China to help to build up this cooperation between the two countries. Countries are falling over themselves to get into China, and in my opinion are using the Tibetan incident just to knock China. The Olympics should not be politically motivated. China got the Olympic Games because of their presentation, in the same way that we got our Olympic Games because we had the best presentation. Let's not allow the media to dictate to us what we think, what we say. That's not democracy. That's media control. Let us stand up and think for ourselves and decide for ourselves. Let's look at what the facts are. Let's look beyond what the media claim to be. Let's assume that we are a human race with slightly different cultures. Not all the same. Differences are always going to be, and that's what makes us unique in many respects, because we are different. China should be admired, not condemned. It's done a lot of work, it's come a long way in such a short space of time. It should be admired for its achievements, but these are all overshadowed by the violent actions of a small minority of people. Are we going to let the minority destroy the harmony of the majority? We shouldn't. I welcome your comments and look forward to hearing from you.